Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Title sponsor, Donnie and Dolly, Able Auctions. Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox just before we get to John Shannon. This is from Fireman Mike. Hey, Donnie, you want to talk about driving skill? Can those kart and F1 drivers drive 3 blocks with a coffee mug on their cars without spilling a drop, which you did yesterday?
I did yesterday, and thank you. That lady, she came up behind me, knocked on my window, and said, here, have it back. It was I don't know her name, but thank you.
Well, it was amazing, though.
What
driving ability?
I thought I did something wrong. Cut her off.
Joined now by NHL analyst, co-host of the Bob McCown podcast, John Shannon, as the Canucks lose to the Blues 4-3 last night. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well, very well. Are you an F1 fan? Are you a racing fan?
No, but it's interesting. You said the one key word in all of this, Donnie. When you go to a Canuck game, you go to a game. When you go to a Lions game, you go to a game. When you go to a car race, you go to an event.
Yes.
And an event is different. I've been to lots of car races. I go for the food. You know, you sit in the box, you go for the food, you let them drive by you for 3 seconds, and you watch the video screens. In many ways, it's like golf.
Yes.
Like I hated going to golf tournaments.
Yeah.
I covered golf tournaments. I was involved in golf tournaments, but I hated being a spectator at a golf tournament because you couldn't see enough and you saw more on television. And that's what you do. That's what you do for car racing. You see so much more on television.
Yeah, we'll agree on that. And
but if you go for the food, then it's different.
And the thing is, when you're covering those sports that are like that, where there's such a large area to cover, you end up staying in a tent. Or wherever the drivers or golfers are going to end up, and you if you watch it on television and you end up speaking to them. So it's just different. Not everybody's cup of tea. Hey, what makes Craig Berube? We saw the Blues in town or playing the Canucks the last couple of games. What makes him such an effective coach?
Well, first of all, he was a hardworking player, so he comes with a reputation of being that workhorse type of guy. And I think that like a few of the coaches around the NHL that have had some success now, it's all about simplicity. I think that there's a direct approach of a guy like Craig Berube, who has the Blues going in the right direction for the last couple of games after they were reeling for a few weeks too. I think there's a direct approach, a simple approach. This is not a complicated game. And if you can put in a few simple, small rules for your great athletes to play, then you're going to be okay. And I think Berube does that.
You did the Oilers game last night, John? I got that right?
I did. Yeah, a great game.
Yeah.
What a game.
Beating LA 4-3 in a shootout. So Connor McDavid gets to 100 points for the 5th time in his career. You've been around for a long time, John. I hate to tell you that. Where does he rank for? Where does he rank for you?
Right behind Howie Morenz. No, sorry, I couldn't resist.
You haven't been around that long.
No, I know. I mean, he's is he on Mount Rushmore? Not yet. Part of that small clique is winning championships. As an individual hockey player, I don't think that there's anybody with the speed that McDavid has. I think that what's come in the last 2 or 3 years is the strength. I think he's still learning to be a leader. So from that perspective, I think he's got a ways to go. And then with that will come championships, hopefully, for Oiler fans. And that's the big thing, is that's part of that equation. To me, when you talk about the measure of players, it's great player on the ice, but how many championships did he win? Because it does taint it if he doesn't win a championship.
So the Oilers moved to within a point of the Kings, who are in second place. I don't think we talk enough about the LA Kings. You saw them last night. What do they do well? They're surprising everybody.
Well, I defy you to name 4 guys on the team on the active roster right now, and I think they're 8 irregulars out of the lineup. They work hard. They forecheck. Their goaltending has been pretty good the last year. Peterson and John Quick was unbelievable last night as well. And Todd McClellan has them playing a really simple, aggressive forecheck style with right now only two members of the Stanley Cup championship of their in 2014 on the roster, because Doughty's out. By the way, best player on the ice last night for LA, you're not going to like it, Alex Edler. Edler played a really good game last night, and when you consider he's coming off that broken leg and they put him right in the lineup, and he had to go out of the lineup because he wasn't ready, back in the lineup last night because of injury, he was an important cog in getting them a point last night.
And Troy Stetcher there now as well. John, one question we have to ask you. We've been talking about this week on our show is Bruce Boudreau and his future. Right now his record is 24-12-8, but some out there feel maybe new regime might want a new guy. Would you bring him back?
Oh, in a song, I would bring him back for sure. He's on that short-term deal. I also get a sense that it has to be mutual. I mean, Bruce has to want to come back too.
Yeah.
And in many ways, has Bruce's time in Vancouver proved that he can still coach in this league? So from that perspective, I think that's part of it. When I hear new regime, I don't buy that. Jim Rutherford had to endorse Bruce Boudreau, and it just so happened the timing was that Boudreau got hired before Rutherford. Yeah. But there is no question in my mind that Rutherford was a driving force of making Boudreau the head coach of this hockey club. So I don't buy anything that says, well, it's Patrick Allvin, new regime. It's all one. Rutherford wanted Boudreau. Boudreau wanted to be with Rutherford. And I think that that's not a factor in any of the discussions.
Okay, the NHL GM meetings, they actually met face-to-face, John, for the first time since 2000. A lot of things on the agenda, safety, refs, no trade lists, salary cap. What came out of that meeting that perked your interest? And you kind of said, okay, well, this is a situation which we should be looking at.
Well, there really wasn't much of substance that the hockey fan would recognize at this point. There was a lot of discussion on the first day of diversity and how managers and hockey operations department have to manage bullying and intimidation within the workplace. Sheldon Kennedy spoke. Kim Davis spoke. One of the rules that they're going to put forward is, remember the issue with Joe Pavelski in the San Jose Vegas series and the goals that were scored in the power play, and then the referees got to review it. There is a good chance that at the end of the year that where the referees had an opportunity to drop that 5-minute major to a 2-minute minor, they're going to take that to the competition committee and to the board of governors. I think that you can actually eliminate the penalty completely, and so there would be no penalty upon review by the referees and the hockey operations group. So of all the little stuff that were discussed, I think that's the one thing that by next year we may notice. We're not going to get very much stuff thrown our way when it comes to the LTIR stuff and the Kucherov rule, if you want to put it that way, simply because it's collectively bargained. And if the league goes to the Players Association and says, well, we want to do this, and the Players Association is going to say, okay, what are you going to do for us? And I just don't see things like that happening and changing.
And John also brought up was participation in the Olympics and a reworking of the World Cup. Can you see a day when we see both the Olympics and the World Cup on a regular basis?
Oh, I think they're committed to both. I think we'll see a World Cup in 2024, whether it's a mid-season one or one in September. And I think that they will be in Italy, was it Milan Cortina in 2026 for sure. I think we see both.
John, all the best. Appreciate it. Never leave your coffee mug on top of your car when you leave in the morning, which Rick did the other day. Just a little
accident. I'm confused 90% of the time, John. But the lady that told me 3 blocks down the road, she came out of her car.
God bless her.
God bless her.
So here's what you should be doing, Rick. Here's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
You go to Starbucks or you go to Tim's? Where you go?
No, Timmy's 24/7. Timmy's. I'm not the other guy.
Canadian.
Okay. So take a $50 bill
Yeah.
Place it down on the counter.
Yeah.
And because of that lovely lady,
Yeah.
say to the girl behind the counter, I'm paying $50 for the people behind me. Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have to leave on that note, John. You're on a high. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
See you later, boys.
Okay.